What is up, everybody? We're back over here on the NFC North Roundtable for Week 16 to preview this week's games, man. We have another in-division matchup this week. We got some primetime football this week. The season's flying by, man. We only got a few weeks left of the year, and it kind of threw me off a little bit when I was trying to do the math last week. Like, wait, there's only three games left? Like, what is this? It's crazy how fast the season's flown by, man. Now everything matters, as TD said on Wednesday. Nick, honestly, everything matters for y'all too, though. And Nick, real quick before we even get into this, like, are you rooting for your team to kind of lose a little bit for draft pick? Is that on your mind?
I'm rooting for competitive games, Caleb progression, and yes, a better spot in the draft. Because we're at number 9 right now, and like, I feel like number 9 is like an awkward spot. Like you're in the top 10, but like the exciting players go in the top 5. So if Bears lose out, honestly, I just want to beat Green Bay. Big ask. We'll talk about that in a couple weeks with Baz, but that's all I want.
Dang. All right, well, if you do want to bet on draft picks, man, you can do it over here on BetUS, but we're not going to show that here. Use code YouTube150 to get your 150% deposit match on your first deposit up to $2,000, 125% on your next 2. Sign up with BetUS, man. You don't even have to deposit right away. Just sign up, make an account, check out the live betting, see all the different options you have. This week, game of the week. Everybody's going to be tuned in this one, even if you're not a fan of these teams. Actually, I missed it. Hold up. It's up here a little bit. Second biggest spread of the week, Patriots-Bills. Everybody's fired up to see this game. So I'm just going to, you know what I mean? Now let's do it with the 14 points. Bass, I'll start with you. Where would you lean 14 points here?
I mean, geez, I'd give Buffalo minus 20. Like I'd take Buffalo minus 20. It's interdivisional. I guess that's the only argument. But after we saw last week, like just to think that Buffalo can't beat New England by at least 14. I mean, it's crazy.
I'm going to go Nick to you on this one. Rams at Jets. This one actually is kind of an interesting game. Jets found a way to win +3. What do you like in that?
Rams are hot. I got to go with the Rams.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, we'll wrap it all up here. Titans, Colts, 1 bar. I know you got a lot. You got a lot of stake in this game. Okay, this might be your game of the week. What do you like? Who do you like in this one?
Oh, yuck. Colts. Got to. I'm sorry. There's no real.
It's Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph's getting a start. It's announced. It's official. He's gonna cook. He's gonna cook.
He's a little 5-piece. Give us 30. We'll see if we're right on this one, man. That's BetUS. Shout out to them for sponsoring today's live stream. I locked that in now, or today's video, I should say. Move on to these picks, man. We'll start right in the NFC North. We have Lions Bears in Chicago. This is the first road game of the year for the Lions, so I'm fired up for this one, man. In Chicago, I know Nick's gonna be excited about that. Nick, I'll go right to you on this one, man. What do you think's gonna play out here?
First of all, it's in Chicago. Holy cow, that's what I'm very excited about. But what's gonna happen in this one? Bears are probably gonna lose this one. Not gonna lie. Not gonna put you put a dress on a pig. It's still a pig at the end of the day.
I think it's the first time you're choosing the other team this year.
Reverse psychology. Maybe it works. But at the end of the day, when we played Detroit on Thanksgiving, entertaining game, poor clock management, could have gone to overtime. Who knows what had happened? Kind of like what the Bears did with the Vikings. Go to overtime, lost to them. At least we would have said we went to overtime with Detroit. At the end of the day, though, all I want to see out of this game is Caleb Williams progress, throw the ball down the field, and get things going. But a tough Detroit defense, even though they are banged up. I know you guys just lost one of your best defensive linemen. It's still, the Bears' offensive line is very, very bad at football. So I just want to see Caleb Williams progress. I want to see this team continue to go in the right direction. A couple morale wins maybe. But at the end of the day, I want the Bears to lose the next 2 games, not lose Week 18 against Green Bay. I want them to get a better draft pick. And the Bears defense did a good job covering Justin Jefferson last week, especially Jalen Johnson. But this defense is checked out too. They're playing soft zone. Tyreek Stevenson's playing like crap. As long as the younger guys like Terrell Smith, Zach Pickens, a couple of the other younger guys, Montez Sweat maybe has a good game. That's all I want to see. But the Bears are probably going to lose this one. And score I'm going to go 28 Lions, 21 Bears.
Yeah, I mean, and then I just saw, you see you guys' injury report. It looks like the old line looks even a little bit banged up too. So to throw on top of that, that for us Lions fans, this is where and it's weird with Chicago, but it's like we might be able to run the football on this team. That's kind of what we lean into, especially when you go onto the road. It doesn't look like though it's going to be wet, like no slippery conditions. Hopefully, as of now, it's just going to be kind of cold. Nick, you know better. Do you see the same thing?
So the weather in Chicago has been pretty darn cold the last couple of days here. And then on Sunday, 29 with the sun, but looking at the wind right now, As Tom Skilling, famous meteorologist for Chicago, would say, it's 7 miles an hour from the south. So, field goals could be impacted a little bit, but it's still going to be 29 degrees in Chicago, no precipitation, partly cloudy. And if that wind somehow picks up off the lake, it's going to be a cold game in Chicago for Bears-Lions. And Lions don't seem to play well in the cold, especially at Soldier Field.
He already said it.
What'd you say? What'd you say, man?
Last time anyone said that, look what they did in Green Bay in the rain. I can't even lie. Can't lie.
Hey, again, reverse psychology. But yeah, so we'll see what ends up happening. But I still got the Lions winning this one. But it's the weather. It is what it is. It's Chicago weather.
They're just they never play away, so.
But like that's our focus in this one, because that's usually what it is with Chicago. It's always some whack conditions, and that becomes the biggest concern immediately for our offense. But I'm excited for this one because I want to see what this Bears defense is going to look like just a few weeks out. Like last time we played Chicago versus where it's at now, I want to see how it actually plays out, what Chicago's defense looks like, because the way you're talking about them, the morale's a little bit down, so they're not looking the same. And I get the sense that we're going to have more success offensively than I would normally expect with it being cold like this, and with what we're dealing with injury wise. I actually think we'll do better on offense. I just don't think the Chicago defense is in the same spot that it was a few weeks ago. That being said, though, the Chicago offense I think is going to be interesting because Carlton's out. That's one you didn't mention, Carlton being out. And if there is a way to get going, that's the way to do it. I mean, we may have Kendall Vildor out there this week starting, and you guys know Kendall Vildor, so maybe that's the guy that you go at a little bit. Like that's the one matchup that, depending on how far the Lions are actually along and moving this thing around, there could be some real shot plays. Caleb did a lot of things off script last time we played you guys and kind of made that thing a game at the end. So I think the Lions will do better offensively. I just don't see the Bears put up a ton of points in this one. I'm going to go 24-13 on the road. I don't even know if that would cover the spread. I'll go 24-13 on the road here. Bass, where you at with this one?
Wait, Dion, do you know what moon is out?
I wasn't going to bring it up. Not going to talk that into existence.
It's a waning gibbous. That's all I gotta say.
Goodness.
Waxing
is that the bad one?
I think the waxing is the bad one.
Is the waxing
they
the bad
get
one
waxed? Yeah, they get waxed when it's waxing.
Well, it's waning, so never mind. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, you guys are cooked.
We're cooked.
I think they have 22 players on IR. I think it's 22.
It's a lot.
They could have 40, and I'd still choose them over the Bears in this week, man. I mean, Chicago's offense under 21 points, 3 straight games. They can't get anything going. Their defense has allowed 30 plus in 3 out of 4 games. I think they're more like an 8-game losing streak. They won't have Montgomery. I think that honestly will make it more dangerous for the Bears, because I just feel like getting Jahmyr Gibbs 30 touches in this game is just like, that's going to happen, and he's just going to torch him on the ground. He's going to torch him through the air. Chicago, in terms of yardage per game, is 31st in the NFL on offense. I mean, I just there's no way they're going to match with Detroit here. Like, there's absolutely no way. I know it's a divisional game, and last time it came down to Eberflus not knowing how to click timeout on his controller. I don't know. It's not going to happen like that again. I got Detroit 35-20.
Eberflus, dude, like the kind of guy that would go to the pause menu to try to call a timeout. It's like, dude, don't pause the game to call a timeout. One bar. Who do you got in this one?
Baz, he nailed it. Like, the fact that Montgomery is out is honestly a little bit even more scarier. Like, the thought of Gibbs getting more touches per game. So it's going to be interesting. And yeah, I mean, I would love to say, hey, Bears, show one game before the season's over, where you at least get those guys excited before the end of the season. But I just can't see how it's happening, especially seeing the Vikings Bears game last week. They were just checked out. The Lions, I mean, this is a perfect game after just such a huge game against the Bills. You just kind of just blew your load all over the place. I mean, the points, the yards, a tough loss at the end. And now you get a team like the Bears, where it's sometimes hard to overcome something like that after such a big game. But you get lucky. You get the Bears. They should handle business. I'll go 28-13.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on then. Let's go right to it, man. We got Minnesota, Seattle. It's in Seattle, right? One bar.
Yeah.
Sure. All right. Now, does that matter anymore? I feel like at this point, like some people are like, it doesn't matter. Bass don't think best.
It was bad. Like, it was really
crazy.
Bad. Like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, you're like, you don't want to go to Seattle. You don't want to go to Seattle. There was go pack go chance in like the first drive while Seattle's on offense, and they got like a false start. I'm like, this is insane. This is insane.
Yeah, it's crazy right now.
And they're a winning
how do you see this playing
team.
out?
And they're
they're good. They're first in the division.
I know, and they can't even get fans in the damn. Oh, all right, go ahead.
No, it's you know what? I'm not looking past Seattle. I mean, like as Vikings fans right now, they're looking at the Packers game, they're looking at the Lions game, but I'm not looking past Seattle whatsoever. They did not look great last week. Packers handled business there. They whooped a little ass. Geno Smith, I still haven't seen. Maybe you guys saw this. I don't know if he's their head coach is saying like, hey, it's looking positive, whatever. He's a dude who gets sacked all the time, anyways. If he's got a little bit of a bum knee. The Vikings should be able to get after it, and they should be able to eat a ton of sacks. But they got a good run game. They got some guys on defense. The receivers they got going on. So I'm not looking past it. I mean, the Vikings are a better team. When you look at Seattle, they really haven't beaten anybody. I know they have 8 wins. I know they're in the thick of things. But when you look at their wins, it's all against teams that they just should have beaten. They haven't been like, oh, wow, they stepped up and won that game. So I think the Vikings will go there and win. It's going to be interesting because this is the first time the Vikings actually, the pressure's on them, like as far as an actual chance to win the North. They have to win out to win the North. And the Seahawks are playing for a playoff spot. So it might not be a sexy game on paper, but this game has a lot of oomph to it. But I got the Vikings winning. I think it'll be close. I got 24-21 Vikings.
Bass, I'll go right to you. What do you think?
Yeah, Seattle needs this win. Unless the Commanders crap the bed, their way to the playoffs is winning the division. Right now, they're below the Rams. They have the same record, but the Rams have the tiebreaker. So Seattle needs this win, but so does Minnesota. Like if they want a first round bye and they want to win the North, which I'm sure they do, they need this win as well. And when I was previewing the Seattle game last week, I was like, okay, the Seattle defense is playing good, but then the Packers dropped 30 on them. I don't see why the Vikings also couldn't drop 30 on them. I also don't see why the Vikings couldn't get 8 or 9 sacks compared to the Packers 7. I mean, that offensive line, that interior of, I think it's Laken Tomlinson at left guard and LeMay at right guard, it was god-awful. It was god-awful. So I think the Vikings will get at least 7 sacks, and if it is Geno back there, like you said, with a bum knee, I mean, you guys might be playing Sam Howell as well in the middle of the game. Minnesota's rolling. I think if they get Aaron Jones going early, just like you did last week and just like the Packers did with Josh Jacobs, just get him going early. Just keep, get touches to your running backs and get the pressure. I think the Vikings should definitely win this. 24-17.
Yeah, Nick, go ahead.
Yeah, just watching the Packers last week, they just do the same exact formula that the Green Bay did. You're going to win this game in Seattle. And Baz said it well, like you can go to Seattle now and win ball games. Minnesota travels very well anyone in the North, in my personal opinion, travels very well, even in our own stadiums. Like there was a lot of Bears fans in Minnesota last week, even with how we're doing. Going to Seattle, I think that Minnesota can definitely pound the rock with Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones looked really good against us this week. He's going against a similar type defense in regards to Seattle. I think he can do it again. Sam Darnold, again, is trying to get paid. They talked about it a ton on Monday night. And I think Monday night against the Bears, you're like, okay, you had an okay game against the Bears. Yeah, you got Jalen Johnson back there. But if he can go out and rip it up against Seattle, win this game, and then, Detroit, obviously, it's a neck and neck for the NFC North. There's a lot of pressure on them. I think that the Vikings have this one in the bag, though, because on top of it, too, it does kind of work out for Seattle, though, because they're going to try to get in as a wild card team, but Washington is playing Philadelphia, and I think Philadelphia is going to beat Washington. So I think it's going to be an interesting week, but if somehow Washington can win that game, Seattle's in big trouble because Minnesota is going to absolutely dominate them. I got Minnesota winning this one 42-10.
Damn.
Oh God, Nick, that sounds like a wonderful game to watch.
Yeah, you got it. One bar. Anything for you, buddy.
All right. Let me add some some disappointment here. There's a concern for Minnesota. One bar, you tell me if I'm wrong. There's a concern. The concern is this. It sounds like it's going to be rainy, right? And if there's one thing that because Bass pointed out, there's one thing that's kind of good about the Seattle Seahawks. They got some dudes on defense. It's just like their offense is horrible. So it's like if it's rainy and, it's like, okay, neither team can really throw the ball that well. And maybe it helps Seattle's secondary a little bit. Could Seattle win a trenches battle? Like could in some way they're like, hey, we ran the football better than Minnesota did in this game. Could that be on the table? I could see a case where that becomes the thing, where it's like, hey, we did pretty well. We ate a little bit up front defensively. I don't think it's going to happen. You know what I mean? I keep picking against the Vikings. They keep proving me wrong, so I'm not going to do it. I think the Vikings also blow them out 30-7. You know what I mean? So, somewhat similar to what the Green Bay Packers did, but I don't know. Maybe there's a world where that happens, One Bar. You believe that?
Hey, if it comes down to running the football, I'm taking Aaron Jones and I'm taking our run defense, man. Dion, you keep dreaming. Keep dreaming.
Well,
but
I will. I will.
Seahawks can run the ball. Seattle can run the ball even behind that crappy ass offensive line.
And then you get Geno back out there. He's got a little scoot to him one bar.
I'm
just
sorry,
saying,
Geno
Sam
scares
Howell.
me at 0%.
Not anymore.
I want Geno to throw the ball as much as possible, man. He throws those things up. We'll get him.
All right, well, let's go to primetime, David. We got Monday Night Football. This is incredible. This is the biggest spread of the week, and I'm shocked. 14.5. It's crazy that the Packers are favored by 4. It feels crazy to me, but it's just like the Saints. They're competitive in a lot of these games, but they're like the most boring football team in the world to watch, man. I mean, it's like they're competitive, but it's like 17-14. Saints were right there. It's insane. Bass, how do you feel about this one?
I quickly want to talk about that last game they had. Did you guys see how the clock stopped at 9 seconds?
Yeah.
4 seconds straight and allowed them to score the touchdown. If they ended up winning, like how much more are we talking about that? But outside of that, I'm going to this game, so I'm very excited. I haven't been in Green Bay in over a decade. So I wanted to go to a cold December night game, and this is exactly what we're going to get. Green Bay slated to get 6 to 9 inches of snow on Thursday, and maybe also snow during the game, which I'm hyped for. I want that. I want Spencer Rattler in the snow. I think he's going to start at quarterback. I would laugh my ass off if they trot Jake Haener back out there, because they definitely shouldn't. Derek Carr, definitely not going to play. We might not see Alvin Kamara. I see why the line's 14.5, but at the same time, like, it could be a closer game than most people think. Green Bay's offense is on fire, though. 30 points in 4 straight games. Jordan Love over 105 quarterback rating in 5 straight games. But the New Orleans defense is underrated. They've held teams to under 23 points in 5 straight games, but I felt like this was the same exact thing I was saying last week for Seattle. Like, oh, their defense underrated. They're holding this many, points under this many games. They're 13th in the league for points per game allowed. And I think the main thing here, Saints coming off a game where they had 8 sacks against the Commanders. If the Packers can protect Jordan Love like they have been, there's multiple games this season where Love has 0 sacks taken, and one of them was last week. So if they can just eliminate the pressure on Jordan Love like they've been doing great at, this Packers offense will continue to roll. And I hope by the 3rd and 4th quarter we're all just partying in that stadium, and it doesn't really matter about the score at that point. That's what I hope, and that's what I think is going to happen. I think 31-14 Green Bay.
That's interesting that you enjoy the cold element. That's fun, though. That's awesome, actually.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Okay. I like that, man.
Yeah.
The one time
we don't got a dome
Bay.
in Green Bay, Dion. We don't got a dome in Green Bay.
I know. I'm just saying. It's like the one time I went, it was raining. It was raining in Green Bay. I was like, this is kind of awesome. I kind of wish our stadium was open. Like, this is. Yeah, I can see how that's awesome.
You're jammed up against everyone. Like, there's no time to be cold, man. In Green Bay, there's just no time to be cold.
That's true. All right. Well, I'll say this, and then the New Orleans Saints defense, they do it in a different way. But I think when I see the New Orleans, like they look so disciplined defensively. Like that's what it feels like. Like you don't have any superstars on that side. They don't really get any pressure. I mean, they got Kool-Aid and McKinstry playing corner now, but they're well rounded. It feels like they're very balanced on that side. But then offensively, it's what Bass pointed out. Like I don't trust any part of that offense. And Kamara getting banged up in the last game. That's like their safety blanket. It's like get it to him, and then there's a spark. And then the drive kind of dies again. So without him, I don't know what the heck it's going to look like. I don't know if they'll score a point in this game. I think we might see a shutout. I think there's a chance that this is 20-0 Green Bay. They don't go crazy on offense, but the Saints just don't score. I'm going to go 20-0 Green Bay. One bar?
Let's go.
You think that's possible?
You're stealing my thunder, man.
All right, my bad. I should have went to you first.
All of our thunder, Dion. Chill,
I'm not
you're the
happy
host.
with you right now. Here's what it is. Like, Baz, get shit-faced before the game. Get shit-faced during the game. It doesn't matter. You don't need to remember this game. It's going to be ugly. The Saints suck. That spread is absolutely accurate. I've been in Lambeau when it's been freezing when they played the Vikings. It was great. You're right. You want it cold. You want some snow. You got to feel the elements. You're going to have a blast, man. So get absolutely bombed. The Saints haven't scored over 20 points in 3 weeks. The Packers have scored over 30 in the last 4. What else you got to say? I had the Packers 24-0. Saints are horrible.
You guys are hyping me up.
About to drop 40.
It's going to happen.
I'll run on the field and be dropped like 40 plus. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to get banned. I'll get banned.
Nick, what do you think is going to happen?
Listen, everyone's stealing thunder. I'll make it short and sweet. It's going to be snowy. It's going to be ugly. Packers are going to win this game 6-0. Baz is going to get drunker than I was.
All right. Come on, man. If it's 6-0, yeah, you're right. I probably will, dude. Like
You're going to get drunk no matter what. It's going to be hilarious.
Missed extra point
to hold on to
field goals.
football. Come
2
on.
field goals. Missed extra point.
Actually, you know what? You want me to change
Three
it to 2-0?
safeties.
You want me to switch it to 2-0?
Yeah, actually, that would be more interesting because there's
How about 4-0? 2 safeties and that's it.
Hey, a win's a win, man. Win's a win.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been to some weird football games that it would match for me. Like I've been to some weird ones. So 4-0.
All right, lock it in. 4-0. My final score.
Definitely hit the under on this game.
If I'm right, you got to let me sit at the top next week, just so I feel a little better.
Okay.
You can sit at the top right now, Nick. You know what I mean? You 4-0. You can sit
a review of next year.
All right, man. Hey, so this is the game that I won't be watching Monday night. You missed on this one. 4-0. Not looking forward to that. But hey, we appreciate y'all joining for this week. Join us back on Wednesday next week when we recap the divisional matchup in a primetime game in the Vikings. They're hanging around. They're hanging around, man. They're making it interesting. That's what it is. But any last words, one bar?
No,
Before
Bears.
we get out of here.
Go Bears.
Great. All right, Nick, what do you got?
Go Bears.
Okay, Bass.
I'm not saying go Bears. I can't do it.
Say
No,
it, say it.
no.
Lose, man. Go Bears.
Technically, I just said it in that sentence, so I'll leave it at that.
There we
Yeah,
go. We'll
someone sound clip it.
All right, well, there we go, I guess. YouTube 150, that's the code, man. And we'll see you guys next Wednesday. This was the NFC North Roundtable. And I'm me. We're out.